Hi, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Spartan Sports Report here on TV3. Brent Duncan joins us on today's program, and Brent, always happy to have you show up.
Oh, happy to be back. See what's going on in athletics this week.
You're going to tell us what's going on in
I know
athletics.
one thing that's not happening tonight is our junior varsity game with East Central has been postponed, or canceled. So,
How come?
playing that. We just have too many kids are hurt. We don't have enough JV kids.
Okay.
So we had to use a lot of them in a game on Friday night. So they're quarters, and just got to get some more numbers and keep people healthy. But we're down to like 4 linemen.
That's the important thing.
So it's hard to play with 4
linemen. It's too
linemen.
bad. I'm sure the kid would.
Oh yeah, I mean kids. You feel bad for the kids because they put their time in and they want to have a chance to get out there and play. And
sure.
It's just about getting kids to come out, so we got to have more numbers, and hopefully that'll keep getting better as the year goes along, or next year comes around, I should say.
It's not a problem at East Central numbers, is it?
No, they had quite a few on their sideline. But, success breeds numbers, and numbers breed success.
One of those days, perhaps, that will be.
Well, I think we have some kids that could come out and help us, and that would be beneficial for our football team. But for whatever reasons, they choose not to play.
Sure,
so, whether it's interest in something else or some outside activity at home or whatever. But I try to talk to kids every day about being on a football team or being on a soccer team or being in the swimming pool or being on a wrestling team. So we're always trying to recruit them out there. So
sometimes you're successful and sometimes you aren't successful.
Well, you never know what the kids got going on in their own private life. I mean, you talk to them a little bit, and some things you can talk about and some things you can't.
Sure.
They all have their own reasons why they do and they don't. You don't have to agree with them, but in their mind and in their heart, that's the most important thing to them. So it's hard to tell them no.
Even though there's no football, there is something else going on, a sectional.
Well, yeah, if you're overseas, it's football. So the boys soccer team is traveling to Mount Vernon tonight for a 6 o'clock start. Opening night of the sectional. It's kind of odd that Mount Vernon happened to draw the Mount Vernon the host, and because the girls start tomorrow night at Lawrenceburg, and they drew the host as well. So they're starting off with Lawrenceburg tomorrow, and the boys are starting off with Mount Vernon tonight. And volleyball sectional's around the corner, and they drew Lawrenceburg last night. So next week that's at Batesville. So they don't play till the second night there. And I think I haven't got the paperwork, or I haven't read it from Brian today. I think we don't play till Saturday morning, but don't quote me on that until I get his paperwork and read it out all together.
Is that when the finals are for soccer and the basketball and volleyball on Saturday?
Different weekends. So our volleyball's still got 2 games this week, so they don't start sectional until next week. Volleyball team plays tomorrow night against Rushville. If they win against Rushville, they'll tie for at least have a tie of the conference championship for the IAC, which is the first time ever since we've been in the conference. We've been in this position. So hopefully our girls will come out tomorrow and play well and at least get a share of the conference title.
Yes.
Who else who's at the top?
Well, last time there was like a 3-way. Greensburg and Lawrence Central, or Lawrenceburg and us. Last time I had looked, so we beat Greensburg, and Lawrenceburg beat Lawrenceburg. We got beat by East Central. So there's a couple of us with just 1 loss. So it's one of those tangled webs. So
we wish all the local kids good luck.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great for our girls. You know, it's been a struggle, and this is Stephanie's, 3rd year trying to get things turned around, and so far we've had a little bit better success this year, and hopefully that'll just continue to get better as we move along. So,
even though the football game, the JV game with East Central is not on tonight, the volleyball sectional will be getting underway both here and at, as Brent said,
Lawrenceburg for girls soccer tomorrow night.
Mount Vernon.
Volleyball next week at Batesville, and boys are at Mount Vernon tonight for opening night of soccer. Single game, 6 o'clock, $6 to get in.
Okay, is Mount Vernon a formidable oppo? How are they doing?
They're a little bit over 500 the last I looked, so just depends. We're pretty young on the soccer team, so.
Sure.
I'm not saying we don't have a chance, but I'm not seeing Mount Vernon play either. But I'm sure they play a pretty good conference schedule and teams around the Indianapolis area, so.
And it's on their field.
It always helps to be at home. It wasn't supposed to be there, but there for some mess up, they're back there again this year. So we're actually supposed to be at New Pal this year. Somehow it got changed, and we're at Mount Vernon.
How are the sites picked by the HSAA?
The athletic directors that are in the sectional meet and decide who's going to host. But for most part, to do soccer anymore, you got to have a turf field and a natural grass field, just in case we avoid rain out, so there's not backup. So Mount Vernon has both, and then if it's too bad, we'll move it over to the football field and play on their turf football field. But hopefully it'll be on the grass, and then Lawrenceburg obviously plays their soccer on their turf football field. So,
Well, we hope for good weather, but if perchance it isn't, what happens with soccer? Do they play?
they play, unless it's lightning.
Okay.
Remember about two years ago at Shelbyville, it was a downpour with the girls. I mean, it was torrential. Trying to hide under the umbrellas, and it was blowing sideways, and I don't think you could get low enough to not get wet. So, but it was probably the worst night I've been out standing in the soccer match. So, it's a good game. Unfortunately, we were on the short end of the stick, if I remember.
Speaking
right.
of soccer, last week when we had Coach Cooley on here, he invited me out to watch the soccer game.
Yes.
And so I was true to my word. I couldn't stay because I had a meeting at 6 o'clock, but I did go out, and he was true to his word. I sat on the bench with the girls for a while, and good time was had. So, unfortunate thing, the Lady Spartans lost.
Yeah, sometimes that happens, but so I don't know. Who'd you watch them play?
Franklin County. They
No,
were
we-
late getting there.
We beat Franklin County, for sure. No, we got beat 1-0. We won the next night 5-1.
They
the next
scored
game.
early and then
Stayed that way and the JV played 1-0 in the second half as well when they played their half. So it's on the short end of both of those sticks.
The coach was telling us one of the attractions to soccer is the footwork by the players, which is, I guess, very important.
Well, since you can't use your hands other than the goalie, so
Okay.
you better be pretty good with your feet. And there are obviously some people that are better than others with their
Sure.
footwork. So
Kicking the ball and
it's
controlling it.
it's just hard to watch when you're trying not to use your arms at anything, and so
Yes.
So some people get themselves in awkward positions and can't get out because then there's a foul because they lose their balance and they fall into somebody. But there are a lot of kids who do a lot of crazy things with the soccer ball. And obviously, just like any sport, some are better than others. But those kids that play in the midfield and the strikers and all those, they're pretty good with both feet. So then your back line's just the defenders. And as Coach Cooley says, if you're when in doubt, you just kick it out. So make them start all over again. So.
Sam, the next game, I hope, is a win for the Lady Spartans.
Yeah. To get a sectional win. Round one of the sectional
Be great.
on the host team's field would be big, and
They're solid.
it'll be tough, but I think Coach Cooley and the girls can pull it out.
Sure.
Yeah.
They beat us 3-0 in the season. I think Edie Judd had a pretty good game on the goal, but as coach will play, he'll do the old pack the box. If I can get you to a shootout and beat you in a shootout, that's as good as winning anything. So we tried that against New Pal a couple of years ago over at Rushville. I think it was New Pal, and it was a 0-0 game until about late in the first half, and they scored just before the half, and then he kept trying to pack the box back in, and then at some point in time you got to come out of the box, and once you come out of the box, they had 3 or 4 girls good enough to spread you out. And by the time we were done, it was about 4 or 5-0, and it didn't take long. So just their skills were a little bit better. And so hopefully he'll always have a good game plan, and it's whether the girls can execute it or not.
I was impressed with the numbers that he had, about 30-some girls.
Yeah, we had 34, 35 this year, which is the largest he's had for a while. And it's usually the other way around. The boys have had 34, 35, and they're on the skirts of 26 or 27. Then when you get injuries, that hurts you for your JV matches because you can't play a full game. So it's just kind of flipped this year. But I think he had 35 to start the year with. So
Great.
it's good numbers for our kids.
They've had a good season. They were 500, I believe, when Jeff talked to us last week.
Yeah, and then they won their last game, so I think they've secured that 500 season. So, and we play good schools. I mean, Lawrenceburg's solid. They're number 8,
Sure.
I think, in the state, and South Dearborn's always good, and East Central's always good. All that pocket down in that corner's always good because they play wintertime all through the winter in Cincinnati. So we play some good, tough teams.
In the volleyball, it will be the Spartans hosting Rushville Tuesday night.
Yep, conference championship. So ladies get a win. Like I said earlier, they'll have a share of the EIC title for the first time
That'd be
ever.
great. And then Pendleton Heights comes to Connersville Thursday.
Last regular season game on
Volleyball.
Thursday. Pendleton Heights in the field house, and they're always a good opponent. So don't know anything about them off the top of my head, but
They have a lot of games.
They've always
volleyball,
played well.
doesn't it? Volleyball. I mean, they have.
Yeah, they can play 23 games in 2 tournaments, so they've played quite a few games.
Yes, they do. Quite a few. But we got a great facility, so.
I think the girls like it a lot better because it's air conditioned. The floor is a little bit better than what it was in the old high school gym, but I know
Sure.
they love being in the air conditioning because if you remember some volleyball games in the old gym in August, it's a sweat box in there, so a little
Right.
hot, a little air.
So will that be senior night, or have you already had that?
We've already had senior night, so
Okay.
they're doing pink out tonight, tomorrow night with Rushville, and then Saturday will just be, or Thursday will just be the last regular season game, and then they'll get ready for the tournament the next week. So
Great.
With the new facility, perhaps we'll be hosting a volleyball tournament one of these days.
I don't know if we have the seating capacity that they're
Oh,
looking
really?
for, so I'll have to check into that. We have a better opportunity in there than we did in the high school gym.
Sure.
So we'll have to see how that goes. Maybe
It's
it's
a great
something we can look
facility,
into.
yeah.
How is attendance at the games?
I'd say if we get 150 people, we're doing good. So we can seat 400, but you don't know how that looks like when you got teams. And you know, the hard part is we have 2 locker rooms, and when you're trying to bring 4 teams in, it's hard to share locker rooms and those things in the facility. So that could hurt us a little bit, not having enough space for kids to house their stuff in without having to share lockers.
Spartan football on Friday night, second to last home game.
Yeah,
Lawrenceburg comes to
Lawrenceburg coming in, and you know they're always got a solid program right now, and we're gonna do a little hometown hero with the National Guard, so our kids might be in the National Guard jerseys, which are kind of camouflage. So only problem is we're having right now is Lawrenceburg's heater messed up their away jerseys and melted most of their numbers, so their white jerseys are no longer good. So typically on the road you wear your white jerseys and the home team wears their collar. So we're trying to figure out the color. Now, I did talk to Ryan Day. Their home jerseys are orange, so that's good. So if we wear something that's brown or black, at least we'll be a little separate.
Contrast there.
I was afraid if we had to wear a red and they were an orange, that might be a little different. But he said, yeah, we had a little, the heating element went out, and they just dry them just a little bit to hang them up. And he said it kind of tie-dyed some of their numbers and melted a few of them. So their home jerseys have been ruined for the rest of the year, so they've been wearing orange all the time right now. So, but we'll make it work.
It'll work out all okay. You can
Yeah, I
solve
think
all
we're
the
going to let
problems.
veterans and current service members in free if they want to come to the game on Friday night.
Nice.
So, working with, I can't think of her title, but her last name was Walls through the National Guard, and she's kind of helped putting it together. And
Good.
there might be a Humvee sitting outside. I don't know what she's bringing, so we've been a little bit of communication. She might have a couple of surprises, she said. So,
Is this the first time we've had something like that?
yeah, we've talked about it in the past, and I've heard positive things and negative things about what you got to do and what you don't have to do. So it all depends on which school you want to listen to
Yes.
about their experience. So we've not done it. I know Rushville did it last week, and Lawrenceburg did it 2 weeks ago. So
We've seen that before.
East Central had it a couple
Central had
years
a few
ago when we were
ago. Only thing I remember was it was hard to pick out numbers.
yeah, they're kind of the camouflage jerseys, and the numbers are kind of light. But she's supposed to bring those into us this week, so we'll have a roster out with the correct numbers of what kids are, because obviously their numbers aren't going to match probably what we have on our jerseys normally. So we'll make it work though.
Saturday is a cross-country sectional,
Starts at 10:30 for the boys, but,
and it's where?
right out at the high school. So if you're coming out on Saturday, try to avoid the west side of Spartan Drive because it'll be shut off. You'll have to come in the east side of the school, and it's $5 to get in. I just say started charging for the cross-country sectional about 4 or 5 years ago. So there will be ticket takers out there, so please be kind and courteous. And they're volunteering their time to help us out and take tickets. But park in the east lot, which is the Columbia lot. The Waterloo lot, which is on the west side, will be shut off, and the road will be closed because the kids run across that road during the meet, so we try to keep the traffic out of there. So park on the tennis court side and come in through there, and we'll have a ticket taker out there or two, so
Okay.
please be courteous. It's $5 to get in, and boys will start at 10:30, and the girls will start at 11:15, and by noon they'll be done running, and by 12:30 we'll have the awards done.
Who are the participants?
Well, there's 13 teams.
Okay, well, maybe you won't remember all.
Cambridge, Centerville, Connorsville, Hagerstown, Knightstown, Tri, Seton Catholic, Rushville, Richmond, Union County. I'm missing 3 off the top of my head. I know Franklin County's there. Anyway,
Pretty good. That's pretty. That's
I
good.
did have them in order. If I just stayed in order, I'd probably got them all. But I can't remember if Newcastle comes down. I think Newcastle comes. Northeastern, Hagerstown,
pretty much East Central
Seton
Indiana.
Catholic. Yeah. Oh, I don't remember if Newcastle's in it or not. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I think they are, but I won't quote myself on that either.
Where do the winners go?
Winners will run at Rushville the next weekend.
Okay.
And And then if you get in the top 5 teams will go, and then the top 10 kids that are not on an advancing team. So up to 45 kids have opportunity to get out of the sectional to go run into regional. So
Good program. Also, the tennis final or tennis semi-state is coming up, but unfortunately, the Spartans will not be.
yeah, we had a really good year. We finished 15-2 on the year, and unfortunately, we drew Rushville, who was 16-1 on the year, and Oldenburg filled in because Union County didn't have a team, so I should say rerouted some people. And then on the day of the match, one of the Oldenburg kids got sick, so they only had number 1 singles and number 2 singles. So Franklin County really won without even having to have a match. That they would have probably beaten them anyway.
Yes.
But unfortunately for us, we got beat 3-2 by Rushville. We've had 3 losses, and 2 of them are to Rushville, and 1 was to Newcastle. So good season by our kids, and our 3 seniors, Gage Brown and Logan Shipley and Dustin McCarroll, played. And then Logan Shipley and Dustin McCarroll are currently 21-0 at number 1 doubles, so they'll play tomorrow night in Richmond in the individual portion of the state tournament. It starts tomorrow. So as long as they don't get beat, they keep advancing. So
Sure.
well, hopefully tomorrow they'll get a chance to
Right,
win
we,
and go and move to the next round after that.
Wish them good luck, too.
Just hope the ball bounces the right way and comes off the racket right. So
Well, it'll be interesting. We've got a great facility, and I know you're happy to be hosting. And
yeah, we like to host. I mean, I wish we had all the 4 teams that we normally have and complement of full teams, but everybody around the area in certain sports are struggling with certain things. Like last year, Union County only had 3 or 4 kids, and this year they didn't have any that wanted to play tennis. So, it kind of goes in cycles. And then Rushville's got a few, and then they got their 3 seniors that's been playing, and their coach is going to retire after this year. Holly and his wife are going to travel through an RV. So I said, it'll be kind of like that movie, I guess, the RV movie. But he kind of told me the other day he won a sectional his first year as the head coach, and he hasn't won one since, and happened to win one on that way out. So booking sectional titles in his 11-year coaching career. But his wife used to be the girls' tennis coach, and they're both hanging it up and just going to take a little travel time.
we're nearing the end of the football season. You have 1 game after this week, and then the sectional, and when's the pairing?
Not this weekend. I believe it might be this coming Sunday.
Okay.
So that's the 10th. I think it's on the 10th. So 6 o'clock usually is when it starts on the HSA TV.org station. So
If the Spartans are fortunate enough to be hosting a sectional, they'll have another home game.
yeah, last year was the first time in 10 years we didn't host the first one. So it's the first time we traveled on the road to start the game. We had to go to Muncie Central, stand in the freezing cold and rain,
But we won.
but we won. It was muddy a mess.
That's the
And,
important thing.
they thought our field was muddy the week after. That field was a lot worse than our field was ever in. So, but we'll find out. Hopefully, we'll get a good draw. And
Sure.
Our kids play hard and the right spot and the right draw, and we get another win.
I think there's several teams in that sectional we can be competitive with, including Muncie Central and
Yeah.
Newcastle.
We just hope. I think, unfortunately for our fall sports teams, they've not got the easiest draw so far. So maybe there's some simpler draws coming down the road.
hope so.
But all of our kids have competed. Our volleyball teams beat Lawrenceburg once, and Mike will have the soccer kids ready to go tonight, and we'll put out our best effort. And Jeff played Stephanie had volleyball good, and Jeff played Lawrenceburg tough the first time. So, you just never know. It's just about getting that one goal for soccer and then hanging on.
Yeah.
So.
It's that time of the year when things are really winding down in a hurry, aren't they?
Yeah, it just seems like we started, and now we're already talking October and fall break coming, and winter sports are gearing up. And in a couple of weeks from today, girls basketball will start 2 weeks from today for practice, and right after that'll be wrestling, and then we'll just keep going with
Boys
swimming.
basketball, it's 51 days until opening night.
You always know that. I don't. And then gymnastics is a little bit later start because they start a little bit later than everybody else, but won't be long.
That's right. The girls will be playing basketball October the 30th. Although it's not an official game, it's scrimmage.
Yeah, we
And
scrimmage Union County.
You're hosting Union County at 12 o'clock noon on the 30th.
Yep.
And then they begin the season 4 days later.
On the
5 days.
Thursday at New Pal. Always a good opening.
always,
Yeah.
always a tough one.
And then we get, Decatur Central and Ritter the next Saturday. Of course, there'll be 2 other games in there that day, too. But Southport will play with us along with Decatur Central and Ritter. So there'll be 4 varsity girls games and 4 JV games in the arena that day as well. So.
Volleyball and girls basketball pretty close together. I know girls that have played both sports, that we always talk about the volleyball girls got to get their legs back under them, and it's no different. It seems like that schedule's a little more compressed now than it used to be.
At one point in time, the girls' basketball season, I think day-wise, was shorter than the guys, so they had to extend it to make it equal, which is what they should do. So then they offered the volleyball coaches to either start volleyball a week earlier or keep it like it is and just have the overlap. So, after the first weekend, everybody's going to be out by 64 teams. So most of the girls' teams will move right into basketball. But it's kind of like football, Boys football, basketball starts right there a couple weeks in November. We're in the middle of tournament trail, and you're never sure if you're going to have all your football teams. Like New Pal doesn't now schedule any games in November because they're counting on playing until December in football. So, so there's no point in scheduling games, as Al says, because if they're basketball players on the football team, we're not going to get them for a couple weeks anyway. So, so they've just stopped scheduling in November. So, which really compresses their boys' schedule because you take out, a couple weeks or so, 8 to 10 days in there, we can get a couple games in. So, but it is what it is.
Swimming opens on November the 13th for the girls only going to Beech Grove.
Yeah, we used to swim Rushville. And Rushville dropped their swimming program 2 or 3 years ago. And we've been trying to find a girls' opponent so they don't have a whole month before they get to swim. So finally, Garrett at Beech Grove called, and I emailed him and said, hey, I see you need a game match. We're looking for a girls only. He says, well, we can accommodate because we need one too. So, so we were able to pick them up. So that way the girls don't have to swim for 4 weeks before they get a match in. So that'll help.
Right. And then November the 29th will be at Centerville, but that's diving only, right? That night?
Yeah, assuming we have a diver. Last year we only had one diver, and he graduated. So, that's just another one of those things that you just have to want to do. I mean, you can try to get a kid to go do it, but they don't have the ability to flip and turn and spot. And right now we're still looking for a good dive coach. Our dive coach was Chrissy Gilly. It's Kristen Day now, and she's working on some classwork stuff, so she didn't have enough time. So if we don't have a diver, I guess I don't need a dive coach. But so we didn't have any kids diving in the middle school last year, so we could use both if anybody's interested. So we will always listen to you. So got any diving ability, come and see me at the athletic office, and we'll talk a little bit. But it's just got to find somebody that's interested in wanting to do the diving. And Quentin did it all, and that was his big thing. He did swim a little bit the last 2 years, but we didn't have any divers in the middle school, and we didn't have any girls divers last year. So it's just kind of one of those things. Hopefully somebody
will show up and be the diver.
But, it's just one of those things you just can't go do. You got to work at it. So
the next night, November 30th, you'll be opening the season by hosting Hancock Central and Batesville.
Yeah, we always swim Eastern Hancock and Batesville. We picked up Batesville with them a couple years ago, and Eastern Hancock jumped in with us. Used to be Batesville and Rushville, and then we picked up Eastern Hancock because they needed to meet. So that'll be the boys and the girls' first co-ed meet.
Wrestling will be getting underway November the 20th at Lawrence Township. Invite.
Yeah, it's hosted at Lawrence Central, and I think this year it's at Lawrence Central. I think last year it was supposed to be at Lawrence North, and then they'll open up the next weekend, move to Homestead, which is up north. So see a few different teams that we don't normally see. So they like to wrestle in tournaments where we don't have people that we typically see. So
Well, that'll be good to get that season underway. They'll be home.
Get a chance for a new coach to get his feet wet in a match. So.
Will those be in the field house or still in the gym?
No, they're in the gym. I think for me, that's a great venue because, the mats are on the floor and all the seating's up top, so you don't have a bad seat when you can sit up there and watch the wrestling match.
Sure.
Same with gymnastics, so they're still in the high school gym, those two events.
Boys basketball scrimmage begins at Knightstown on November 20th at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I believe.
Yeah, it's Kerry likes to have a practice in the morning and then get on the bus and go play in the afternoon. We got a couple chances to pick up somebody else, and right now we're sticking with Knightstown. Just shorter drive, and you can get a practice in. You don't have to worry about driving a long way on a Saturday and get back home at a decent hour. So
Nice facility they have up there.
They really do. And Matt
Matt
does a good job with their athletics up there as well. So
It's a home and away. The scrimmage, every other year it's here.
Yep. So right now we're just on a 1-year deal at a time in case they want to jump or we want to jump.
Sure.
So right now we're going to their place. If they come up with a new opponent they want to play, or we find somebody, then We're not held to a long-term contract, so we can get back out of it.
And November the 20th, Sam, that's the day you've been counting down to.
Yeah, 51 days, Fran.
That's a Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and we all know what happens that night.
Well, let's hope it's a good atmosphere, and let's hope everything goes well, and that everybody can be back in the gym and cheering our
Hopefully
kids
we
on. And I encourage people to get out. Just don't come and watch the boys play. Come watch the girls. Come
Right.
watch the swimmers if you're not seeing the swimming. That's one sport I don't want to do because you got to worry about staying alive because you stop swimming, you drown. And I enjoy swimming for leisurely purposes, and not competitive. But then wrestling starts, and if you're not watching our wrestlers, that's 6 minutes a heck on the mat. You try to do all your best at 2 minutes at a time, and there's no rest because if you rest on the mat, you're pinned. So it's a lot of strenuous. So I'd like to encourage everybody to come and see all of our kids. And
Here's,
I know this weekend, and I'll throw this out there, the band's in their competition. I think they're doing a little welcoming or a send-off down through Glenwood from 44 or whatever time they're leaving on Saturday. So maybe I'll tweet that out when I get back. So if
Sure.
you want to come out and root the band on as they're going to their competition in Indianapolis.
Okay,
And
that's
I think
good.
they're going out 44, so
yeah,
I think they got a
great.
police escort. And so
That'd be great.
people can cheer and wave at the band as they go out to their competition.
Spartan Bowl's going to be pretty busy during the holidays.
Let's hope. Let's hope it's a really good time.
Right,
So
you've
we
got the tournament.
Yeah, December 23rd. It's
invite.
in the girls' side of the games. It'll be Cowan, Winchester, Madison, and us. And then in the boys' side, it's South Decatur and Monroe Central, which are two teams in single A that really wanted to play some big schools because they think they're going to be really, really good. And then us and Bloomington North will be in that. So be a good day of
8 ball games in one day.
8 games in one day. We'll start at 9 in the morning. Every hour and a half, we're going to try to tip off. Let's hope we all stay on task.
I don't think you'll be rested in time for the Spartan Classic then.
Well, it's a week away, so 6
Who
days
knows
after
that?
that, we'll have the 32 wrestlers in for 2 days, and the day after that, we'll go to the Hall of Fame in Newcastle. We finally sold a few
Good.
Hall of Fame tickets, so if you're interested in the Hall of Fame tickets at the
Sure, time to
Newcastle on December 30th, it's $10 in the athletic office. That'll take you the whole day, both morning session and the evening session. And
Bargain.
you can see the Spartans take on the Shamrocks, and you can see the Spartans take on the Irish, and hopefully it'll be the Spartans taking on the Spartans in the nightcap. I don't care which one. we
Is that
play in the
how it
nightcap.
works? The winners and
Winners and winners and losers. Well,
Okay.
the 2 people who get beat will play in the evening at the opening game. and
Okay.
The 2 winners will play the late game. So I really don't care who we play in the finals. I just want to play in the finals. So,
Be wonderful. Cathedrals in that.
yeah, it's us against Westfield at the first game at 10, and then Homestead will take on Cathedral in game 2.
We spoke with Kerry Brown a couple of weeks ago, and he said Cathedral's loaded in his words.
According to their coach, they've had like 42 Division I offers, so we'll see.
It should be an interesting December. This is the first time we've had a basketball tournament locally during the holidays.
Well, we've played, I know they used to have the one on, was it New Year's Day?
New Year's
New Year's
Day.
Day tourney, yes.
And then we've been in the wedding for so long, and then we've been in the first Phil Cox one 2 years ago in Kokomo, and then of course last year got COVIDed out, and we were actually going to go to Westfield, to Greenwood to play in the Invitational, and then we got invited to go to the Hall of Fame. So Greenwood, we asked if we could get out for this year. We'd like to go back to Greenwood the following year on the 30th of December, but you only get invited to the Hall of Fame game so often, so it was hard to tell them no. So
Yes.
Greenwood said they would try to find a team for a year, and they'd be happy to have us back the year after.
Is the Phil Cox tourney not to be played this year?
No, I think it's still going on, but I think Kerry just wanted to be a one day and not
Sure.
an overnighter, so we would
Well,
play
that makes sense.
4 teams
right.
have to drive to Kokomo and spend the night. And so we opened it up with the inaugural, and so we had the Connersville team in the first initial one, which was a good thing to have.
Well, you brought us up to date on a lot of events that we can look forward to between now and the end of the year.
I just like to see people's faces to, not just support football and basketball. Come out and see all of our kids.
Sure.
Do different sports. Come to something you've not seen before. You might find you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Very good.
That's
Good
true.
idea.
So, you like soccer more than you
Sam?
thought?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not
You
sold
wouldn't,
yet. But
you wouldn't
it's
pay
better
a bunch of
now.
money to go see Cincinnati play or
No.
Indy 11 or whatever.
Thanks, Brent, for joining us here on this edition of the Spartan Sports Report. Thanks, everybody, for watching.